Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the first in a series of chats between Neil and Jim about various digital marketing techniques that they use during their training and helping clients. What we're going to talk about this morning is the social media rule of thirds. This is something that comes up quite often in all of our training courses. So we're going to explain this as we go through the conversation. So, Neil, you produced the model. Can you explain the basics of it?
Yeah, well, social media rule of thirds is about getting a balance to your content that you produce in social media. Basically, it says that 1/3 is personal, so that's getting to know you. 1/3 is point, which is signposting to really interesting other content that you find on the web. And the final third is promote, which is overtly being able to sort of sell your products and services.
I know we call it the social media rule of thirds. Do you think it applies across kind of all the digital marketing platforms?
Yeah, it's a really good question because, yeah, I mean, it certainly does. I mean, certainly in social media, you find because you're publishing probably more content that, yeah, it becomes more obvious that it works there. But I think it definitely, we've seen evidence that it works in emails to strike that really nice balance so an email doesn't become then just a sales tool. It also works on websites when you're doing things like blogs. And to be honest, I mean, any form of communication, it just strikes that really nice balance that there's something in it for you, but there's also in it something in it for the listener or the reader.
Yeah. One of the questions I get asked is that how do people actually kind of go about filling it in? Have you got any ideas about how people can start that?
Yeah, I mean, it is a great bonding thing. I mean, if you are working as part of a team or you're trying to work with an agency to kind of come up with this sort of content, the rule of thirds works really well if you have, for example, a flip chart. So you have a big fat flip chart and you create on there 3 segments. We call it the content wheel, and it's kind of a sort of a circle basically broken into 3/3. And then you use Post-it notes just to populate your ideas onto the 3 sections. And essentially what happens is, visually you can then see where the weight of your content lies. For most people, it'll lie pretty much in the promote third because that's the easy bit because you want to be sharing and shouting all about your products and services. And often it's the personal bit that forms a bit more of a challenge. So they've got to then really think about, okay, what do I need to share that would be of interest about what we do or who we are as individuals in the team.
Yeah, you mentioned that team thing. We obviously see a lot of companies employing people directly to do social media and digital marketing now for them. But they're obviously not working in a void. They're working in the context of an organisation. How do you think the model can really help these sort of marketing teams and social media managers?
Well, I mean, basically what it does is it creates the boundary. If you're the manager of the team, for example, you then have the confidence that people kind of know the limits of what they're saying, because often if you give away the responsibility to somebody else, and they could be outside the organisation or could be part of a wider team, and especially if they're working in other offices, and you're not sort of physically in direct control of them, this is a great way of people understanding collectively what is acceptable, what is sort of permitted, but also what's encouraged, because this is very much about the person you're trying to communicate with. So they are the starting point. It's kind of what's in it for them, and it just really helps everyone to work in the same direction. Yeah, it's a great sort of bonding tool for that.
Yeah. Have you got any good examples you could share of organisations you've seen that are using it, putting it into practice?
Yeah, well, we're seeing sort of organisations large and small sort of taking this on board now. One really good example is from an organisation in the States called One Medical. They've got a number of GP surgeries across North America, and they're using it, for example, if you look at their Twitter account, which is at One Medical. You go and have a look at their account, and it is just pure rule of thirds. They share a lot about themselves. They share a lot about sort of signposting to really good stuff that's about wellness. You'd expect as a GP practice, they're talking about illness and come in and have your flu jab, but it's far from that. It's very much about wellness. So they'll share great recipes and healthy eating. They'll share sort of health and fitness exercise schedules and that kind of thing, as well as obviously saying, here's some great products and services that we offer. But it's a really nice way of, almost sort of reinventing what they do, but for the value of the person they're trying to communicate with. And it's just so well balanced. It's great.
Yeah, yeah. I've used the Environment Agency as again as a great way of a larger organisation being personal online, where they've empowered all their staff on the ground to actually use social media. So you see that very local aspect, which is engaging for local people that maybe don't want to follow the kind of national press releases and national engagement from the Environment Agency, but want that local flavour. The final question then, how do you actually monitor the use of the rule of thirds?
Yeah, I mean, that's a critical one. I mean, you can just jump straight in and try and do this and think, oh, I'm doing the rule of thirds, therefore it must be working. No, we would very strongly advocate that you have some kind of dashboard to measure both what's working and what's not working. One of our favourite ones, we're not sponsored by them, I should add that, so we don't get any money for promoting this bit, but we just find it's a really good one, is socialreport.com. And in there you will find information about all the topics and interests and the subjects that your networks are actually talking about, so you don't have to then just judge and guess. It's there sort of in front of you. The other really useful thing that these dashboards have, like socialreport.com, is that they will tell you the time of day and the day of the week when your networks are active. So you don't just have to guess, and of course we know that there's so much noise to cut through. So even if you're publishing great content and getting into conversations, you need to be making sure that you're doing it at the right time. So they will tell you the time of day, day of the week, so that you can be really pinpoint accurate and make sure that you are being active when they are active as well. So yeah, you've got to have a dashboard so that you can strip out the stuff that's not working and do more of the stuff that is, and then you just get better and better.
Great. That's really good. I think we should have helped people quite a lot this morning. Right, next one about content curation. We've talked about that a couple of times in the interview. So yeah, we'll discuss that more next time. Thanks.